This is Answers Partyline today for your Wednesday. It's January the 19th, 2022. Answers Partyline brought to you by Wimmer Opticians St. Cloud and Chiropractic Connection of St. Joseph. My name is Brad Melke. The sun is shining, but it is 4 below at that 14-mile-an-hour northwest wind. So that feels like a temperature of about 24 below with the wind chill factored in. Otherwise, actual temp 4 below and sunshine. Again, my name is Brad Melke. In studio with us from the Soil and Water Conservation District Administrator Dennis Fuchs, and from the Natural Resources Conservation Service District Conservationist Chris Hogge. Chris, Dennis, Happy New Year!
Good morning. Yes,
Good morning.
Happy New Year. What are you? It's quite a year it's been.
Yes, it is.
And it's already in our 19th day of it. And in those 19 days, gentlemen, what has transpired at the office?
Well, we're still at 25% staffing capacity, and the office is still closed to the public. So if you need assistance, we come out to the farm and help you. For our farmers out there and for non-farm folks, we meet you out in your yard and check out what your resource concerns are. We do take calls, 320-251-7800. Extension 3 gets us to the NRCS SWCD office, and we typically have people there answering the phone, and also we got voicemail, so if we do miss the call, we return it very, very quickly. We also, on our website, if you Google Stearns SWCD, it'll pop up, and if you contact us, we have all the NRCS staff and all the SWCD staff, so you can email us questions too. And we also have a little spot on our website. If you have a question for KASM that you'd like us to answer, you can also submit those questions.
Yeah.
And we haven't got a lot of those.
Okay.
So
Is there still that incentive that you mentioned last year?
yeah, what was it?
It was a baseball cap.
Some kind of a
Baseball
cap or something?
Yeah,
Almost.
doggone. How can I forget about that?
Man.
Jeez.
It's old age.
Yeah.
Did you give it? Have you given anyone away yet?
We had a few questions, but nobody would leave their names, so we couldn't ever send them back.
Okay.
So
All right.
we're really looking for some questions. That way it's something that's more applicable to folks who are interested in learning more about conservation, rather
Yeah.
than listening.
Conservation-related question,
Yeah.
you mean? Okay.
Yeah, rather than listening to Dennis drone on and on about things that,
Right.
may not be as interesting for everybody. So, I'm just laying it out
Throwing
there.
it out there for you.
Yeah, if you want something that's
I'm
really
just shaking
applicable
my
to
head
your
looking
world.
at Chris right now. Like, this is my partner in the office. I got to put
Man.
up with this.
I know you're kind of sitting farther apart now for some reason. I don't
Well,
know.
it's COVID.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, it's
Omicron.
COVID.
Gotcha.
No, seriously, we do want to make sure that if you have a resource concern, we can help you, and we're here to help. And definitely give us a call or email us, and we will make sure that we get out and take a look at what the problem is.
Yeah, we're highly focused to doing field visits for producers. We have kind of things set up in place that you call us, we can get pretty much maps and soils and all the things necessary to come out to your place and look at things. It's pretty easy to get those things printed off, and then we can get out, and we're looking, hopefully turning around in a week or two to come out and visit with you about your project.
Even in this kind of condition, the weather and snow and so forth?
Yeah, because you can see a lot from aerial photography.
Okay.
You don't really need to see the actual ground. You can kind of go off aerial photography. We have topography maps. We have soils maps, which those really play a lot. They're highly important when you're doing kind of the conservation. It tells a lot about a site before you even go out and see it.
Well, then you wouldn't even have to go out and see it then, would you, technically? Or
In certain cases, in certain practices, with experience, yeah, you could go off a soils map and a topog and basically be able to pretty much give a good indication of what needs to be done before you are out there in the field.
And our conservation planners a lot of time like to have that information when they go out and visit a farmer. They'll have soils and a topo map to help with the conservation planning right from the get-go. So that's what, if you give us a call and kind of give us an idea what your resource concern is, if it's pasture management or cover crops or crop residue management or animal waste management, we'll print off the appropriate maps and get ready. But hey, Brad, I also want to let the listeners know we got a couple things coming up. The Minnesota State Pheasants Forever Convention is going to be held in St. Cloud. Not this weekend, but it's going to be the weekend of January 28th and 29th, which, by golly, that's next weekend.
Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday?
It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they kind of wrap up in the morning.
Okay.
So basically Friday and Saturday are the big days. And if you're interested, just Google Minnesota Pheasants Forever State Convention, and there'll be a lot of information online. Our local chapter will be there with a hospitality suite in the evening to help folks with the discussion about how hunting went and how habitats in Minnesota looking and things that need to be improved. And then speaking of Pheasants Forever, we got our local chapter banquet coming up on March 5th, and that'll be at the Holiday Inn right in St. Cloud. And they've revamped that. They've been working on revamping that for the last 3 years, so it's looking pretty spiffy. And one of the things that our local chapter of Pheasants Forever likes to do is recognize the Stearns SWCD NRCS Outstanding Conservationist for the past year. And that is Steve and Cheryl Schlungen. And we had Steve on air here last year in December to talk about his operation. And they will also be recognized at the Pheasants Forever banquet on March 5th. And that starts at 5. And once again, if you're interested in that, it's just a great opportunity to network with a bunch of conservationists, hunters, and people that enjoy hanging out with those folks. And there's a lot of raffles. Just visited with Chris Zemer from Zemer Labs. He's going to be donating a puppy, and that'll be auctioned off. We got a bunch of other items that folks are donating, so that we'll have lots of stuff for raffles, and we got meat raffle. It's just a fun activity, and if meat raffles, I don't know what the deal is with meat raffles, but man, they are exciting. I can't go to a Legion without a big crowd there with a meat raffle.
Never been to one. I don't know.
I
don't know what they're like.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you could win.
You could win meat, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
So yeah, and our local Pheasants Forever chapter has been a really good support of our office. They've helped support our past farm bill biologist position, and Ryan Rostein, who is now titled Wildlife Habitat Specialist, is that person. Now they've moved into providing additional support for our pollinator habitat. They're providing dollars to get pollinator habitat in areas where we can't use NRCS programs. And so these are like rural vacant areas, schools that have a natural area. We're working on getting pollinator habitat and using that as a tool to teach kids of the importance of pollinator habitat. And that's just one of the things that they've done, along with helping trap shooting and other activity.
Very good. We're going to talk more with Dennis and Chris coming up after a news break. It is 9:30, time for news. We'll have weather and then markets all up next. It is KASM Radio. More Answers Partyline visiting with the Soil and Water Conservation Let me try that again. Take two. Today in the Answers Partyline program, Soil and Water Conservation District Administrator Dennis Fuchs over there. District Conservationist, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, Chris Hogge over there. And Dennis, you've got more to talk about.
Well, imagine that.
Yeah, that's surprising. I'm sure that shocked everybody.
All right. Yeah. So just want to share with our listeners that we pursued a grant here a while ago because we had some resource concerns with nitrates in our drinking supplies. And we were able to get a Board of Water and Soil Resources grant for nitrogen management practices for safe drinking water. And we did send out a packet of material to all of the farmers that are in these drinking water supply management areas that are sensitive to nitrate contamination. That was last summer. But we did have a few folks take us up on that. And I just wanted to share this information again with farmers that might be in these targeted areas. And I'll just run through the communities. And it's the drinking water supply management area, which is where the community gets their water supply. And that area is delineated with a 10-year time of travel. So if they pump a well, their water from out a ways will come into that well. So that 10-year time of travel is where they delineate this drinking water supply management area. And that varies depending on your soil and geology. The more sandy, coarse texture type of soils, it'll be much larger. And if it's an area where you have a different type of soil, it could be much less. So the communities that we're focused on include Sauk Center, Melrose, New Munich, We actually got Viking Industries here, too, up by Opal. Sartell North, Sartell East, Wade Park, St. Joseph, Rockville Northeast, Rockville Southwest, Golden Plump, Cold Spring, Richmond, Roscoe, Painesville, Kimball, St. Martin. Did I say New Munich? There's
Sure.
a quiz.
I believe you did.
Yeah, okay, good. So as you can see, there's a lot of areas out there that are vulnerable to being contaminated with nitrates. Nitrates can be from septic systems, improper manure storage, or excessive fertilizers, or poor irrigation water management. And these grants help provide incentive payments to do a variety of things. One of them is a fertigation retrofit. There's 75% cost share available for equipment purchases or upgrades. That's when you actually apply nutrients using your irrigation system to your crop, spoon feeding it throughout the growing season. Also, irrigation water management. That's a management practice where you apply just the right amount of water based on rainfall and evapotranspiration and soil type. And then you also have nutrient management implementation. So if you've got fertilizers you're using, manure, we can help with that type of practice. And let me tell you that irrigation water management, if you're just going to do basic, that's $15 an acre to help get that set up. And if you're going to do a more where you're starting looking at precision application of irrigation across based on meters and soil types, we can even give you more to help do that. Nutrient management, we're looking at $15 for just the basic. So if you just want help getting a nutrient management plan, you want to work with a crop advisor or one of our conservation planners on our team, then you got $15 an acre to develop a plan for all the fields that you're applying nutrients to. And then also cover crops. If you'd like to give that a shot on a field, I know Chris and I have talked about this. We don't need to have your whole farm in, and maybe there's just 20 acres or 10 acres that you want to try cover crops. We've got $50 for a single species, and $60 for a double, and $75 for multiple species, and a 10-acre minimum. So we do have a minimum in there of 10 acres, but so maybe you start out with 10 acres and give it a shot. And these are in these targeted areas. Just want to remind folks that this grant is for those targeted areas. And if you did receive a packet of information from us last year, give us a call. We really are looking to get this grant utilized and put into practice. We've got until the end of 2022 to use these dollars, but now is the time to be thinking about it. If you got an irrigation system and you're not using chemigation or fertigation to apply and spoon and feed your nutrients throughout the growing season, and I know the price of nitrogen fertilizer right now has gone through the roof. So you want to do the most judicious job of applying those nutrients and maximizing those nutrients. And if it's nitrogen, and if you're getting maximum plant uptake with nitrogen, you're going to have minimal nitrate going into our groundwater. And that's the point of this, is keeping nitrates out of our drinking water supply areas. Now, if you come in the office and you say, yeah, I heard Dennis talking about this drinking water stuff and nitrogen management practices for safe drinking water, sounded really cool. Am I in the area? And if you're not in the area, we do have another irrigation program that is just getting rolled out this year. And Chris was going to share just a little more information about the Regional Conservation Partnership Program irrigation program for the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, and I just want to fall back on what you were saying. You listed off a whole number of towns and other places and other things. Where could folks find that information? Because you listed it off, and I wasn't even sure if you said the town. So I was just curious.
320.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
Oh, can you imagine working with this guy every day? It's just mind-boggling. 320-251-7800, extension 3. That's our phone number. If you're interested in this program, the nitrogen management practices for safe drinking water, or the program that Chris is going to talk about here shortly, give us a call. We will be able to help you.
And if you're not in those areas, we have Rcpp Program, which is a regional conservation partnership program that was awarded $3.5 million plus some match from partners to be utilized from 2022 to 2026. And this is basically eligible for irrigators located in the project area, which basically consists of central Minnesota, up north a little ways. And this is available on the Minnesota Department of Agriculture website. If you're looking for more information on the locations, and if you have any questions, you can always call the office and we can make sure that you fit this. In Stearns County, you are eligible. In some of the surrounding counties, and the picture that I have here is too small for me to really even tell, but it'd be, looks like Stearns, Sherburne, Benton, and then we're moving up into Morrison, way up north here. What's that one? Crow Wing. So Ottertail.
Todd.
So, yeah. And Candy Ojai looks like one. And Meeker. So in those counties there, you can sign up for this at local NRCS office. And basically the approach is you got 3 options. The first tier would include implementation, relatively inexpensive practices installed, advanced soil moisture sensors in the irrigated fields to enhance water management through irrigation scheduling. The second tier would be a little bit more advanced. That would be installing precision irrigation package, including updates to the panel. You can update your nozzles and variable frequency drive pumps. And the third tier includes an advanced irrigation package along with the newest technology for irrigation water and nutrient management. This will include recent proven systems using remote operation technology, crop status sensors, and a variable rate fertigation system. So if any of this would interest you, it goes all the way from simple updates to more complicated and more technical updates that will help you utilize water in the most efficient manner possible, which is kind of the focus for this project.
Is the area is the area going to determine whether you're going to be involved with that, or sometimes do you have both options, or is it just?
I believe this one is just in central Minnesota, basically the areas that are highly irrigated.
Gotcha.
So, and porous, like in the sands, Anoka Sands Plain, that area.
And Bonanza Valley.
And Bonanza Valley,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. And then they actually call it the Central Sands. So if way up the Ottertail Perm area is a huge potato production area. And actually, Darren Newville, my counterpart at the Ottertail SWCD, was one of the folks that helped spearhead this application into USDA, NRCS, to bring in this funding. And it's, $3 million?
Yeah, $3.5 million it looks like. And then they have additional match that is used too.
Yeah, so it's used for a variety of, not only just for conservation practices, but also for some other stuff that's going on with the application. And it's just another great opportunity to improve your irrigation system. Irrigation management can really influence our groundwater, especially if you're over applying water and applying nitrogen fertilizer. You could be washing nitrate right through the soil profile into our drinking water supply. And the Minnesota Department of Ag recently has approved the groundwater protection rule. And basically, it's supposed to minimizes potential sources of nitrate pollution to the state's groundwater and protects our drinking water. The rule restricts application of nitrogen fertilizer in the fall and on frozen soils in areas vulnerable to contamination, and it outlines steps to reduce severity of the problem in areas where nitrate in public water supply wells is already elevated. And it's actually 2 parts to the rule. So one part of the rule is dependent on the fall fertilizer application. And those are areas like the coarse textured soil areas where you're not supposed to be applying any nitrogen fertilizer in the fall. What happens is that nitrogen is converted to nitrate, and it moves very quickly through the soil with water. So either in the fall or in the spring, before you have a crop able to extract and use that nitrate, it slips through the soil profile into our drinking water supply. So they have got a map on the Minnesota Department of Ag website that illustrates where you should not be applying that. And in Stearns County, it'd be the Anoka Sand area, like up at Kimball and along the Mississippi River. And right adjacent to the Sauk River, there's a lot of coarse textured areas. And in the Bonanza Valley, which would be the southwest portion of Stearns County. And those are just generals. They actually got a map online, an ArcGIS. So they actually got a geographic information system, so you can zoom right in on your farm, and if you can see if you're supposed to be protecting that area or not. So it's just a very useful tool that they have created. So that so that's part one of the rule, restricting fall application, and then part two of the rule is response to drinking water supply management areas which already have elevated nitrates. And the goal is to take action to reduce nitrate in groundwater before a public well exceeds the health standards for nitrate, which is 10 part per million. Now, there is a discussion of lowering that threshold, but we haven't had any official word on that, but there is discussion of reducing it from 10 to a lower number. The rule is structured using a sliding scale of voluntary and regulatory actions, and it always starts out voluntary. And we have actually got two of these in Stearns County, two communities, Melrose and Cold Spring, that are part of this mitigation. Their existing water levels is below the drinking standard, but they're in that caution zone where we need to watch it. And I'm not going to pull out numbers. It's less than 10, and it's in that area where we need to take action and make sure it doesn't get over 10. So what we have done with the Minnesota Department of Ag is develop local advisory teams, and that's co-ops, agronomists, farmers in the drinking water supply management area for Melrose and Cold Spring that help us come up with ideas and best management practices to address that rising nitrate concentration in the drinking water supply. So we just found out recently that Roscoe is also going to be now on the mitigation level 2, which means that we'll have to develop a local advisory team for Roscoe and include the farmers and the co-ops there and develop a plan of attack on how to reduce nitrate concentrations in those areas too.
That's a lot of information there, Dennis. Where would folks go to find this information if they need to get an update after?
Like I said earlier, the Minnesota Department of Ag site has got all this information.
Do we have that on our own website, or
just Google Minnesota Department of Ag groundwater protection rule?
Okay, just checking.
How much activity do the advisory groups and individuals and farmers you mentioned? How much input are you wanting them to put into this?
A lot.
A lot.
We really want them to develop the solutions. And one of the things that I encouraged the local advisory team is to have every farmer in the drinking water supply management area is to become Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified. And for one, if they do become certified, we know they're doing the best job they can in managing our resources and their inputs, like fertilizer, including nitrogen fertilizer. That means they would be protected from any future regulatory action. As I mentioned, all of these start out voluntary, but there could be some regulatory component down the road. What that would be dependent on the input from the local advisory team. But if you're Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified, you'd be protected from any future regulations because you are doing what's required of you to protect our resources. So it's very important, in my mind, to become certified in those drinking water supply management areas and across the county.
Yeah, and there's other benefits to Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification. There is another regional conservation partnership program that addresses folks that are Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified, and if they are, they can actually have dedicated funding for implementing practices that they need to establish on their farms. So they could even get assistance for nutrient management type practices or any kind of erosion control practices or even irrigation practices that they can provide assistance with getting those things changed out or retrofitted or whatever needed to be done. So there are other benefits to being Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified other than just avoiding regulations.
Right, and that's very true, Chris. And we've kind of been using the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program assessment process as a conservation planning tool. Because as part of the assessment, we look at every field, every crop, and identify all the resource concerns related with pest management, erosion, crop residue, crop rotation, and other factors, and make sure that all of our resources are being addressed. So it's a great way to do the conservation plan.
Is there a cost share with that?
There potentially is, like Chris was talking about, there's the RCP associated with the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program. And then the state also offers $5,000 annually for certified farmers or farmers working toward certification to implement additional best management practices.
Isn't there some funds to help them even to do the review, the plan? Isn't there like a $500?
That's only in our All Acres for Our Water project.
Just wanted to check to make sure, because I have heard that kicked around in the office.
Yep, and we're working with our ag retailers out there to continue to promote this program also, because if they have the appropriate tools, the assessment can be done relatively efficiently. Some of the, like TrueTerra is one of the tools out there that captures a lot of information and puts it in a computer and spits it out. And you can take that information it spits out and put it right into the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program assessment, and you can come up with a number. And with the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program, you develop a number from 0 to 10. If you score 8.5 or higher, you've got enough conservation practices and management principles to protect our resources to the desired extent. So 8.5 is not an easy score. And one of the things that we have identified as the biggest thing that kicks farmers out is tillage, too much tillage. And as I was driving across from Sauk Center to Paynesville, this is right before Christmas, a week before Christmas, and we had some big winds and some snow, and I could not believe the amount of soil that was moving. And you can see the combination of soil and snow, which we call snert. And there was a tremendous amount of that in the ditches. And we need to leave that crop residue out there, try to get cover crops out there if we're going to, make substantial gains in improving water quality in our surface waters.
Is that 8.5 evaluation once a year? Thing?
It's a 10-year contract. If they modify their management or bring in additional fields, the assessment specialist in our office is Mark Lefebvre, and for greater Stearns County area, outside of Stearns County, Graham Pearson works at, and they would reevaluate those fields that have been added.
At a yearly basis? Or?
When it's required.
Just when it's required?
Yep.
How do you know when it's required?
They'll contact us,
Gotcha.
farmer. And there are also spot checks associated with this, too. Within that 10-year contract, there's a spot check to make sure that the management practices are. And that's been, rolling in. More and more farmers are applying and participating in the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program. So the workload has continued to increase, where we need to go out and do those spot checks. And we've been really pleased with the farmers really doing a good job and doing what they said they are doing what was in the plan.
Is the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification popular with producers? Has it been increasing recently?
Yeah, I think the word on the street is it's a great program, and the assessment specialists like Grant Pearson and Mark Lefebvre, and then also the rest of our conservation planners in our office too. Tessa and Kelly and Megan are also capable of going out and doing this, and they really enjoy working with the farmer. The farmer enjoys the technical assistance they get, and a lot of times they can fine-tune their fertility program and reduce tillage, and their return on investment is better after participating in a program, which is a win-win for all of us. The farmer makes more money, still maintains a very high level of production, gets more return on their investment, and the environment is improving. So to me, it's a win-win. And if you're interested in that program, don't be afraid to give our office a call. You got that number?
No, I don't have the number.
I do.
320-251-7800, extension 3.
I just don't want to take your thunder away.
Oh, yeah.
You really like enjoying
This guy's wearing a Cyclones sweatshirt today.
I'm trying to bring the education. That's all I can do.
Chris, you need some staff there at your department?
Yep, we can talk staff. Okay. I am looking for at least 2 soil cons and a Waite Park's customer service team in just Waite Park alone. We just had a long time district conservationist Pat Galing. He retired at the end of the year after I think 34 years of working for the agency, and that left a huge hole. So we're looking to fill that one. We had the job announcement was open just before he retired, so we did make a selection on that. So I am looking forward to having a new person there. I think we'll be doing really well with that individual. Maybe we'll get him on the radio, just bring him down here and educate him on how to do the radio side of the deal. But as far as the Waite Park team, as far as Waite Park in general in Stearns County, we're going to have an opening for at least 2 soil cons, and that would be a GS 579. So you need to have 6 credits of soils and 6 credits of plants. That can be achieved in multiple different ways. You can take direct soil classes, and in some situations there are classes that have soils included into it, so that can also count towards your credits. And if you have those credits and you get an opportunity to apply, it will be coming out here, I'm hoping here next month or so, but it'll be a direct hire, and it'll be posted on usajobs.gov. And basically you can go in and apply for those. You just need to do a resume, and you need to have your resume and transcripts.
Okay.
And that's how you can make that application. If you have any questions, you can be more than happy to give me a holler at the phone number Dennis is going to provide.
320-251-7800, extension 3.
Or you can look on our website or our Facebook page, and you can just get my email, and you can just send me an email, and I can help you walk through making an application. But if you have a college student that's coming out of college with an ag background, this is an excellent opportunity, because we can hire you basically right off the street, and you can start your job. And if you have a bachelor's degree, you're probably coming in as a 7, and if you have a master's degree, you're probably coming in as a 9 minimum.
Wow. All right. Chris and Dennis, thank you.
Yeah, and just let the listeners know, I'll see them on the air March 2nd when Chris and I are back.
Oh,
Wednesday, March 2nd. Yeah, get it on your calendar, listeners.
Be there.
Be there.
All right. Dennis Fuchs, SWCD, Chris Hogge, NRCS, joining us here on KASM Radio. 2 minutes after 10. We'll be right back after this.